Good morning, everyone. So thanks, Udit, for the first session, which was pretty power-packed and focused on what matters really, which is sales. It's a pleasure to be here today, and it's pretty amazing to see how the Calcutta's digital and startup ecosystem has come a long way in the last 5 years. I shifted back to India around 5 years back and started the journey to build Now Purchase. And this event, in its third edition, is also a testimony to the same. At the outright, I would like to congratulate Abhishek, Aji, and the entire INT team to put together a great third show for the Calcutta audience and people visiting us. Today's topic about building a B2B marketplace. So firstly, what I would like to start off is by trying to understand what is marketplace, what is B2B. Let's first understand that, and then we'll get into further specifics around building a B2B marketplace. The way I define a B2B marketplace is any kind of service where businesses can buy or sell goods or services in an easier and transparent manner with the help of technology. टिपिकली हमको लगता है कि एक B2B मार्केटप्लेस एक वेबसाइट है जहां बिजनेसेस सामान खरीदेगी या सर्विसेज खरीदेगी. But I don't agree with that definition. It is very much possible that a business does not need a website or an app to buy a goods or services. We need to use technology to help them buy the goods or services. अगर हम सोचेंगे कि ई-कॉमर्स साइट बना देते हैं Amazon जैसा अब बिजनेस आके खरीदने लगेगी, it will not happen. If it was so easy, Amazon would have built way much larger businesses on a B2B setup. But that has not happened. And this is segue to the point that B2B is not B2C. तो जो भी हमको लगता है कि हम B2C में करेंगे, वो B2B में नहीं चलने वाला in all probability. So first things first is to define who is this B in the B2B. कौन है business? कौन है customer? कौन है supplier? Who will interact in your marketplace? Udit mentioned about this ICP funda. It's very accurate, right? Imagine a small factory versus a large factory. They both are making the same goods, but they both make decisions very, very differently. Imagine I am a marketplace selling computers. I approach a BPO to sell computers versus, say, I approach a AI and ML firm to sell computers. Very, very different decision-making parameters. For the BPO, it's a cost center. For the AI and ML shop, it's a performance engine. Same goods, thought process very different, right? Both are businesses, both are providing service. So be very, very specific when you're defining the business with respect to scale and industry. So when we pivoted Now Purchase around 2.5 years back, we said our customers are small and medium ferrous casting producers in and around Howrah. Right? Very, very specific. Size, small and medium. Not just casting producers, ferrous casting producers, where in and around Howrah. Very, very specific and very verticalized and specific ICP. So very, very important to define that as you start building a B2B business, whether it's a B2B marketplace or any kind of B2B business. Again, you don't need a website to place orders online. It's not required. Think about what is adding value and how is technology going to play a role. Businesses have been running, like Abhishek sir said, throughout pehle ki industrial age was there, IT age was there. Businesses have been running for ages. Don't force fit technology. Just because everyone is doing, don't force fit technology. Yes, we have to, get onto the bandwagon of digital transformation. But don't force fit. the technology has to play one of these three roles. If it's not playing, don't use it. Either it has to help you grow your margins, either help you grow speed, or create a true differentiation, which in the startup lingo is moat. Not just कि यार आपकी website online है, चलो unique है. Is it really creating a long-term value proposition and differentiation? Only use technology if it's doing one of these three things at least. Ideally more than one. Speed, margins, real differentiation. You know, businesses are very, very unique creatures. And, you know, at a business, there are multiple stakeholders. Literally, the guy who's going to use your product is not even knowing it's being purchased. Imagine there's a person who's going to actually use your product. He does not even know it's going to be purchased. There's a person who's a user. There's a person who's a buyer. There's a person actually raising the inquiry for it. Then there's a fourth person who actually pays for it. And fifth person who actually makes the decision. At any business, even a small business, there are these five stakeholders. Now, these unique creatures, given that there are five different stakeholders who automatically itni khichdi udhar hai. You know, you are trying to solve their khichdi, but udhar andar mein itni khichdi between those five only. So firstly, it's important to understand who is the decision maker, who is the user, who is the person who's going to actually cut the check. And what is the application of what they're buying? Because the same good, the same service could have very, very different application at different businesses. So figure out what application actually flies and then also define your customer segment. So in the first part of my today's session, I think it's super imperative just to decide who is the business you're serving on both sides. Who is the seller? Who is the buyer? Now, you might ask us, how can I so confidently attest to all of this? I started Now Purchase around in 2017 as a pure play B2B e-commerce website serving goods. So yes, I built a website कि यहाँ businesses आके सामान खरीदेंगे. It was a marketplace. We were doing almost 3,000-4,000 orders a month just as a B2B marketplace selling these maintenance stores and goods. Still, we realized that people are only coming and going. They're buying, business value, revenue is growing, but we're not really creating value for our businesses. We again pivoted and said, okay, let's try to also sell to the retailer audience, the small industrial stores. Can we provide more value to them? We again sort of added another dimension and started selling to large enterprises. In the first 2 years, we sort of serviced these different customer profiles and tried to understand where exactly is the value. Only after doing this for 2.5 years and having some success and mostly failures is where I realized that, you know, we are also defined our customer profile as very wide. We were serving every manufacturer on earth. At one point in time, we were even exporting goods through our website. So we sort of pulled back just around 6 months before COVID and said that we will only focus on casting producers. As soon as we were getting our ICP in place, COVID hit. And we used that time to actually sell sanitizers, PPE, again to the casting producers. We realized that we need to provide value to our ICP. Doesn't matter if eventually we are going to sell them metals on our platform. But currently, they do not know how to keep their home, their work, their factory in place. We came up with our own content engine where we created SOPs on how to manage your factory. You know, printers, posters, videos on how, in different languages, on how should you keep your workplace safe during the COVID period. And then only post-COVID, we could actually launch our today's platform, which is a procurement platform focused on the metal manufacturing industry, and more specifically, the foundry and casting industry. And while doing this, you know, one of the things which is just a personal takeaway is a lot of times we get attached to what we are building. And I was also so attached that, you know, this e-commerce site is there, is giving us 3,000 orders a month. How do we shut it? And only after realizing the value of a real ICP, where we were actually getting organic month-on-month scale, I could take the harsh call to shut it. If someone asks me today, I would say I should have done it a year before. So how does Now Purchase use technology today? And just some ideas on how you can use technology to build a B2B marketplace. Our buyers today don't order online. So how are we a B2B marketplace then? We realized that, in our business, average order values or AOVs are 8 to 10 lakh rupees. Why do we have to force these buyers to order online when it's not most efficient? I'm making a 10 lakh rupees buying decision. I don't want to add to cart. Like, it is not gonna work, right? It's a 10 lakh rupee decision. So for our buyer segment, we heavily use the WhatsApp bot to help them discover prices, stocks, delivery situation, which is where the buyer discovery, the buyer understands what we serve, whether it's available to us, and raise an inquiry for the same. On the other hand, for the seller segment, we realized there's a huge value case to use technology. So we created again customized flows on a WhatsApp bot where they could actually signal to us the inventory, the price, the timing, when they want a delivery to be picked up. And lastly, we have been able to create a SaaS layer which helps our manufacturing audience reduce their production cost. So the first three things which I spoke about, right? Margin, speed, and differentiation. Initially, it just started with us the first use case, which sort of helped us increase some of our margins. The second use case of sellers helps us increase our speed. And the third use case today helps us increase our differentiation. Of course, all of this did not happen together. It started with just one use case, which was just the buyer side WhatsApp bot. But slowly, we only decided internally that we'll only use technology if it adds either of these three values. If it doesn't, we will not use technology. We will not force कि यार audience को website पे click कराना है, cart पे करवाना है. No, we won't do it. It has to serve one of these three use cases. So, while in these 5 years, there have been a lot of learnings, a lot of mistakes. There are 3-4 things which sort of stands out, which I thought would be good to share with all of you today. Typically, everyone's family, if there's someone doing something even remotely related to internet, any cousin, any friend will call you, कि, we're starting a business, website kahan se banwaye? App kahan se banwaye? That is the first thing. क्योंकि उनको लगता है हाँ ये तो कर रहा है कुछ उस साइड में इससे पूछते हैं. First things first. So every month कहीं ना कहीं से ऐसा कॉल आता है and they're like share numbers of some agencies, some developers कि website और app कहाँ से बनवाए. So please don't think of building the app or website as the first step. It is most often a wrong, time-consuming, and expensive step. I also did the same thing, spent 4 months, got in-house developers, built our own e-commerce marketplace. Versus what should I have done was create an MVP on Shopify. But I built everything in-house. A seller engine, a tracking engine, everything in-house. Makes no sense. So please don't do it. Try the interactions offline, understand what's happening, then build use cases for it. We are all lucky we are in a country like India. Literally no market is too small. If you think about monopolies today, right? Uber, Amazon, they even command maybe high single digits or early double digits in market share. And we think of themselves as monopoly. If you look at the entire US retail market, Amazon is now getting into double digits in the last 3-4 years from a retail market share pie. Even if you look at Chrome, which is like a real monopoly, it is still not 100% of the market base. There's still a lot of folks using Safari, Firefox, and so on. Point being, in a country like India, literally no market is too small. If you can actually create value for your customers, each vertical has $1 billion opportunity waiting. Thirdly is a personal, mantra is to not overanalyze. Sometimes the time we spend on analyzing things, it is possible to probably experiment it out in a shorter time period. So don't overanalyze. And lastly, but very importantly, is we see other people and you're like, कि यार उसका luck अच्छा था इसलिए हो गया, उसका timing सही था इसलिए हो गया. But my personal belief is luck, serendipity, good luck, good fortune comes to those who try enough. So if you're trying enough and if you're perseverant enough, serendipity will come. And this has been my learning because, we were having no idea what today's customer base would be. And we went out to raise funds on a base of just one geography, one sector. No one knew what's foundries. People said that, you're serving only one geography. You're serving something like foundries. Why will someone fund you? And we didn't even know this customer profile existed actually when we started building the business. And it was serendipity, but it came after a lot of perseverance. Lastly, to end my today's speech, I would further talk about what I believe in the most when you're doing B2B, is that don't think about customer acquisitions. He has 100,000 users, 10,000 users, doesn't matter. Those are for the PR to flash the numbers. Don't think about the number of users acquired. So internally, we have a metric called SOPW, share of procurement wallet. We are like कि a share of procurement wallet कितना है हमारे पास. हम लोग सिर्फ वही ट्रैक करते हैं कि हमारा SOPW बढ़ रहा है कि नहीं month on month. User चाहे add होए नहीं होए doesn't really matter. SOPW month on month should be increasing. If that is increasing, all the metrics should come to play. And in conjunction with that, I would say in B2B, the mantra should be to go deep and not wide, because that's only how a truly valuable B2B business could be built, whether it's a regular platform or a marketplace business. Thank you so much. Happy to take any questions or any other.
Hello. Can you highlight more on developing the WhatsApp bot and your strategy behind it and how it worked for you?
Sure. So,
Design and development of it.
So again, even with WhatsApp bot, since WhatsApp has opened it up pretty aggressively in the last 2 years, there are literally hundreds of agencies out there who are building on WhatsApp bot. We did it internally using an API platform called Twilio because we have our own tech team, but that is not necessary. Today you will see a lot of brick and mortar companies using WhatsApp bot. There are a lot of third-party agencies like Haptic, Yellow Messenger. Even if you go to Facebook site, they have their own list of agencies available who actually can customize a WhatsApp bot. So a couple of them which I know is Haptic and Yellow Messenger, but I'm sure there must be many more out there. It is pretty cheap to get started because it's on an API call basis, so if you have, depending on how much messages interaction would happen, you would pay something. Sometime back it was, I think, a minimum of a couple of $100 a month with a 40 paise per session or something. So it's very, very cost effective to try out. Yes.
Hi, you mentioned about communication through the WhatsApp bot, both for sellers as well as for buyers on the same platform. You also mentioned about for the metal manufacturers as a SaaS layer. So I would want to know, after the communication has happened, what is the SaaS you talked about?
Sure. So the SaaS layer does not come until the customer is acquired. So we don't complicate on day one कि आपको हम SaaS भी करेंगे, आपका production cost भी कम कर देंगे. It starts with just the buying interaction, where they buy goods and services from us. At least if they have bought goods and services a couple of times, then only our SaaS onboarding team pitches them this value-added layer. So all three do not sort of relate at the same point of time. It starts only with the buying selling interaction. That is one. To the second question, the selling and buying interaction currently works independent of each other, as is we work as a managed marketplace. So in the sense the seller interacts with the WhatsApp bot, communicates his inventory, and at the same time buyer gets discovery of prices as a standalone interaction. I hope I'm able to answer your question. I can't hear you.
Hello.
Yep.
My name is Divakar. As you say that we don't have to start for the business start with website or apps. It is the worst mistake that they do. So according to you, what is the best time to pitch any business or help any business for their website or apps?
So could you repeat the last part? Your voice was a little bit.
Yeah. So my question is that what is the best time at which stage, just like at the scaling stage or whenever they get attention from the audience. So what is the best time to pitch or to help the person for the website or app?
Sure, sure. So yes, once you know, again, what is the use case, what is the customer profile, because everything. If you think about Udit's session right now, he was saying that what is your story, what is the content. To build the headline on your website, you need to know what is your use case, who is your customer. So when that is defined and you sort of now know that हम ये बेच रहे हैं, इसको बेच रहे हैं, वो आपको पता है, तो please make your website, make your app, make all the social media presence you want. But till the time you don't know who you're selling to, don't do it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Naman, for your wonderful session.